Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today we're back in the game, and returning guest, I think second or third time, one of the big dogs, third time, the ringmaster himself from the Sith List, Iraj Dowlatshahi. How are you going, my man?
I'm great, man. You said my name perfectly, by the way, my last name.
Dowlatshahi, is that it?
Yeah, Dowlatshahi. Yeah.
I make an effort with the names, and I'm a pretty well traveled guy, Raj. I've worked, worked with a lot of different people with different backgrounds. So you work on the right. What's the worst pronunciation you've ever had?
They butchered, but what's interesting is they butcher my first name. Like when I go to Starbucks, I can't say Iraj when I leave my name. I have to say Eric. Because I always use Eric.
Thanks,
always.
Man. Thanks for the coffee, man. All right.
Yeah, thanks, man. I work at a church, man. I always use Eric because if I say Iraj and it's spelled I-R-A-J, they never ever write I-R-A-J because they're hearing me say Iraj, so they'll do R-I-A-J, even though I'll tell them it's I-R-A-J. So I've gotten Iraj. I've gotten Iraq.
I'm still just Iraj in a cage.
Right. That's right. I got a Riyaj before, so I just say Eric. Last name, I don't even try, dude. Like their heads will.
Do you get there's a comedian in Australia, famous, very quickly, comedy group called the D Generation, and one of the guys in that, his name was Santo Cialaro, which is like Italian background. Yeah. And he used to be on a radio show talking about the misspellings that he'd get on mail. And the best one he ever got was Snato Garro.
Snato Garro? That's
from
awesome.
Santo Cialaro. Do you ever get some crazy misspellings on mail?
Oh, yeah, all the time. And my baseball coach in high school, my nickname was Alphabet Soup. He just called me Alphabet Soup.
Jeez.
Just Alphabet. He just called me Alphabet. He wouldn't even call me by my name. He'd just say, "What's up, Alphabet? Get out there. Alphabet."
Oh, man.
Go touch the fence.
When I used to go to the soccer, when I lived in London, go see Chelsea a lot, one of their best ever became one of their best ever players, and the captain was a guy called Cesar Azpilicueta, and he was a Spanish bloke. And when he started, they were just calling him Dave because they couldn't pronounce Cesar Azpilicueta. And I was just kind of like, come on, we're not really trying here. It's not that hard, guys. And he ended up becoming one of their best ever. Like, they kind of got it by the end. He was like a captain and won the Champions League and did all this stuff. But
I used to use, when I graduated high school, went to college, I used to just say, my name is Iraj Eric Dowlatshahi, and I would spell it E-R-Y-C. And to this day, I still get things in the mail that says Iraj Eric Dowlatshahi. It's like registered somewhere. So yeah, I've changed my name unofficially to Eric.
Yeah, I work with a lot of people, like IT, especially in Australia, a lot of people with Indian backgrounds and stuff, and they've kind of got to a point where they're like, just call me Addy or Ali. They'll give you from up front. They'll just like, here's the pronunciation version, the easy version. But how's it all going? How's Sith List going? Still kicking.
It's still kicking.
No
we're
major
at 400.
You never had like a breakup. No one's kind of like left the band.
No, we're like Pearl Jam a little bit. Like we're still together.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking of the other day about bands that have broken up from that era, and it's pretty much everybody. Or people have died, most of them have come, like, I was thinking about this the other day when Oasis came back, because it's like, I got Oasis tickets this week. Good for you.
Nice. Man, it was an ordeal. And I've got
it was an ordeal here too, by the way.
And I've got a friend on the inside, and they just couldn't help me. They're like, normally I can help you, and we've got nothing.
Right.
And I didn't get pre-sale either, so I had to like be with the public sale the next morning. And my friend who's at Ticketmaster's going, 90% of the tickets went yesterday.
Right.
So you're going to have to get in. And I got like front standing, got exactly what I wanted. Like out of
you got the floor?
The floor, front section and everything. Like I couldn't believe it. So
that's amazing. Are they playing Wembley?
Yes, in London. But yeah, Melbourne, they're playing they're doing 3 nights at the Docklands Stadium.
Oh, well, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Which is, like 60,000 sort of.
How many? Why I was asking Wembley, because I can't imagine how many nights they're playing there. Are they playing there like 10 nights or something? Because
there was talk they wanted to outdo Taylor, but I don't know if they have. I think it's 6 or 7.
6 or 7 nights.
Yeah, I've been to gigs at Wembley when I lived in London. It's great because it's like our stadiums, because of our football fields are oval, so they're wider. So that was kind of like, if there's a gig at a stadium in Australia, if it's one of the rare ones, you've got to get at the front because I saw
You're
Foo
way
Fighters
the
at the
hell out
back.
there.
You're just too far out. You can't see anything.
Yeah.
But because Wembley is a football, like it's your football field, everything's
right.
brought in, so it's not a bad spot. So
No, that's cool. All right, cool. Well, congrats. That's cool, man. I know a lot of people here that wanted to get tickets and they couldn't. They're playing 2 nights at the Rose Bowl, I think, which for us that holds about 90,000. So,
like you said, there's not many. Like a lot, there aren't many. Even those big bands, those 90 bands that broke up, like Pumpkins came back, Soundgarden came back for a bit.
they did.
Pearl
I saw
Jam
that
never
tour.
really left. Like
They never left.
Yeah, I'm seeing them next month. They're playing in Melbourne next month.
You're going to go see them.
Yeah, I'm going with my
How
dad
cool,
and my brother.
man!
Yeah.
I am so excited for you. Look, I got goosebumps. That happens easily for me. But that's rad, man. They're like, to me, they're like,
yeah. I think we talked Pearl Jam when you were.
We did.
And I knew you
talk
were
a lot
coming. I was
for
like, it'll come up. It'll come up.
Yeah, it'll come up. Yeah. Oh, I was just looking at stuff today because I was on Twitter and they had a bunch of like this year in Pearl Jam history. It was the Rolling Stones cover and they did Masters of War at a Bob Dylan tribute. First time Eddie actually sang outside of Seattle. I've just been really getting into them again. I go through these phases, man. I go through these phases where I go hardcore at them for a long time, and then I back off and I start listening to all kinds of different things. Like I'm talking like EDM, and I'll listen to like right now I've been listening to nothing but EDM, unbelievably. But I've just starting to get back into Pearl Jam.
You still got all your CDs, like not just your Pearl Jam, like all your like CD collection.
I do. It's at my mom's house, but I have a lot because I worked at a music store for 6 years, and I got a lot of promos and yeah, like the Oasis first album. Is that what's Story Morning Glory?
No, Definitely Maybe's the first one.
Definitely Maybe that one. I think I have the promo still with the little punch out SKU where you can't sell it because it's a promo.
There used to be a record store I used to go to in Carlton, which is a suburb in Melbourne, when we used to buy CDs. Me and my old flatmate, we go there almost every weekend. And I think that guy, he got promos because he would sell promo stuff. He would just sell it. He didn't care. So you'd buy it. Right. It would be a few bucks cheaper than wherever else you bought CDs from. Like a perfect circle there and a whole bunch of stuff, and it had like the sticker on it, like not for sale.
Not for sale, promotional use only.
I don't know if I might still be there because they were heavy vinyl sellers back when vinyl was, when it was no one cared about vinyl at the point before.
Now they do.
I can't believe how expensive vinyl is. I don't buy vinyl, and I was like $70.
It's $65-$70. Yeah. No, thank you, man. It's cool though, man. It's cool to have vinyl.
They should
still have
sell CDs in vinyl size.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see. I wonder if this wall will show you. I guess so. So right here, I have the original Star Wars Empire Return, and then Steele got me for my birthday the Story of Star Wars from like 79, and it's like it's a record vinyl form.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, let me show you. This is great for podcasting since they can see it. Yeah, it's like the Story of Star Wars.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
Did you used to have the like the books, the records on tape, or the books?
I still have them. And I have one of my favorite items that I have. If I can, is the little vinyls, the little LPs on the record Story of. So I found this one. I don't know where I got this, but it was in my mom's attic, and it's pretty in mint condition. It's sealed. It's the vinyl, but it's in Spanish.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So what's Spanish for turn the page when you hear R2, D2 beep?
That's true. I wonder if it like cusses you out in Spanish. That'd be rad. La Guerra de las Galaxias. Yeah, it's unopened, and it's from 1980, I believe.
We had some of the tapes. We didn't have them on the records.
I did too. I had some of those.
Like we had Return of the Jedi, and the Ewoks joined the fight. And
yeah.
Which I think is still floating around my parents' house somewhere.
That's so rad. Yeah, I love the old nostalgic stuff.
I wonder if they do those. Do you know what a Tony box is? Have you ever heard of a Tony box?
Tony box? No.
Yeah. So what a Tony box is, and it's funny because I bought my partner Kat got wind of this thing called a Tony box, and you can't get them in. I think you can't get them in Australia still, but they're basically like they're like about this big, sort of like a square speaker, basically like a phone size squared for people who are at home, and it's essentially like a speaker. But what it does is it comes with like little toys. It's almost like an amiibo. So if I have like Princess Leia,
Right.
it sticks to it, and then you would get like the story of Star Wars, and you buy all these different like
What?
toys and things, and so my kids have them like in bed, so they can like listen to the story of Star Wars. They can pick what story they want, and they just sits next to their bed and they listen to it like an audio book. So
amazing.
yeah, so it's basically, I don't know whether it's actually stored on the toy or whether it just uses it as a key to download, and there's some internal memory. But it's
How rad
it's
is
this weird
that?
thing because it's like you can't get them in Australia. And when I was over for Celebration in Anaheim, she said to me, she's like, can you try and find a Tony box? I want to get one for the kids. You can't get them anywhere. So I had to like Google and trying to figure out where I could find one in Anaheim. Like found the Best Buy. So I actually
They had one there?
Yeah, they had them. So I actually had to
Oh shit!
take an Uber to the Best Buy in Anaheim or wherever it was near where we were staying, and like
shit.
I was like, I'm not in Disney anymore. It was like a bit more on the outskirts.
Yeah, right.
I was like, damn, and picked up this Tony box.
I know exactly where you were.
yeah. So we've got a whole bunch of them. So Kat's been getting them. So every time somebody goes overseas, like Britain or America, she's like, "Can you pick up these little Tony toys?"
How cool is that?
And,
you know what I used
they
to
love
do when
them.
I was I got to look into that. I used to, when I was a kid, I used to record with a cassette deck in front of the television. I'd play and record the audio coming out of my television, and it would be Star Wars. So it would take about, I think, 2 cassettes front and back, and I would go to sleep every night listening to the actual movie.
It's the exact same thing. So they've just got like a whole bunch of them. They just put them there, and they just they can change them. There's a whole bunch of Disney ones, and there's like National Geographic and blah blah blah. But it's this weird thing because you're paying for media again. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's like a physical media. It's literally physical media. So I don't know what I don't know how much. They're probably between $10 and $20 a thing. I'm like, man, they've found a way to get you to pay for physical media again. So
that's amazing. Yeah.
Huh. So they'd be right up your kids' alley. They're probably the age of just like, I want to listen to a book when I go to sleep, and I just want to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I read the golden books. The golden ones.
Yeah.
The binders, all the Star Wars ones, do them every night.
I don't know if there are Star Wars. There must be, because there's Disney ones. There must be some Star Wars ones. Like my daughter's got like a Batman one. And I don't think she's really even seen any other Batman stuff. But that's like how she knows about Batman. And then every now and then they'll give you some random fact about volcanoes. And I'm like, how do you know that? Like, oh, it was in the Tony. They were talking about the...
That's right. I got to look at I definitely got to get it.
There you go.
But we're doing good. Yeah, we haven't broken up. It's the 6 of us still. And some guys take days off because they have to work or do whatever is going on. But we have enough people to obviously cover.
Well, that's what I mean. Like you've never had to even you've missed a couple. Like I've heard ones, and there's just like a very nervous King Tom or Eric Struthers like trying to steer the boat.
Right. I've missed, I think, 2 out of the 428, and one of them was last year because I saw U2 at the Sphere, and I wasn't going to pass that up in Las Vegas, which was insane. I still try to call in from the Sphere. They couldn't hear anything, but yeah. But the other night I did a solo, which I've never done before because everybody was on vacation. And they had
the
to
whole
work,
thing was solo.
The whole thing was solo. King Tom came on a night before, and I recorded it, just me and him talking about Star Wars, and then I added it, but the rest was all solo.
Oh,
man.
shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the days. I mean, like we spoke before we started, like I've sometimes got stuff on, but yeah, chuck me a bone. If you find out you're on your own, I've never done a solo podcast before. I've always and obviously I do guests. So sometimes things don't line up and you just go, well, it just won't happen. Cause I know sometimes Hawes is just like, well, strap in, buddy. I'm going to just sit here rambling into the microphone by myself, but I can't.
Yeah. Well, Hawes, I remember when he first did it, he's like, I got to do a solo tonight, bud. I said, oh, you got this, dude. And he was really good at it. He was great at it.
Yeah. He's just a natural. Yeah. But
he's
I just feel like I'd be like that episode where Krusty's in the bomb shelter trying to do the show by himself. He's like,
that's how I felt. That's how I felt. Well, luckily I just saw the Joker 2, so I had a lot to say.
Oh, right.
So I went off on it.
I hated that first Joker movie, and I don't really talk about stuff I don't like. I just did not.
Right.
It just did not work for me at all. So I had no real inclination to see it. But I've sort of heard that even people who like the first one didn't really love this one.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
I saw the second Beetlejuice yesterday. Actually. Have you seen that?
I saw that one. Yeah,
which I didn't mind. It felt a little like a made for TV.
Yes, it felt like the editing was a little weird, and it felt like it was kind of all over the place. And it was, we're doing this, and then let's jump into this, and then let's jump into that. It was really odd the way it wasn't a typical Tim Burton style.
No, it didn't feel like he pushed it hard enough. It felt like it was just kind of like on a, I don't know, but then even the bits where they lent into the practical stuff felt, I don't know, it just didn't like, it was good seeing Michael Keaton back, and I like those characters.
He was
and
cool.
Whatever.
Yeah. And Winona was really cool. The actors were great.
It just didn't feel like the stakes were ever that high either as well.
Yes,
even like when they were.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. And I mean, they kind of got around was it Winona Ryder's dad, who turned out to be not a very good bloke in real life. They're like, let's just bite his head off and have him walking around without a.
That was pretty funny how they dealt with that. No, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time, but it was nowhere near the first one, obviously.
No,
I love that Danny Elfman did the music, because right off the bat you feel like you're in a Tim Burton.
Yeah, well, that's
film.
what I think. I'm like, I'm going on and he's got more money, and it's going to be.
Yeah.
It just sort of, and it's always funny when it's like when stuff takes that long. Again, like, we waited like 30 years, so
yeah, exactly.
It
should have some more oomph, to it.
Yeah. Are you you guys are watching The Penguin, aren't you?
Oh God, yeah, we're reacting to it. We do our YouTube show on it. Me, Les, and Randy.
I've just caught up, so I haven't done normally I watch you guys when I watch the thing, but I was a few weeks behind, so I've just caught up.
Oh God, I mean, you saw episode 4.
Is that the one where she's in the asylum?
Yeah, Arkham. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was rated the high. It has a 9.5 on IMDb. It's the highest rated television show ever an episode on their website.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it?
She's great.
Brilliant. She's great.
She's great, and Colin Farrell is insane.
It's just hilarious that he's like, it's like this gritty Batman world and blah blah blah.
Right.
But he still talks like he's from the 19. He's like, "What are you talking about? What are you hoying about me?"
Y'all,
That's the worst Spanish I've ever heard in my life. But it's just he still talks like a 1920s gangster. He's like,
you should have a Tommy gun.
Yeah. But
it's so good though. My wife Lorena just caught up, and she said that every episode feels like a movie, like the production value and the quality of how they're filming each episode is up there. They
had to get TV budget John Turturro though. They couldn't get John Turturro. We can't quite. They got the guy. Mark Strong, whatever his name is. Yeah,
Mark Strong. They couldn't get.
He's good, but it's like Turturro. He ain't getting out of bed for TV.
No,
in this instance.
That was funny.
So, Star Wars stuff. Like, there's no Star Wars TV at the moment.
No.
We're in this little lull. Are you aren't coming to Japan already? Are any of you guys coming?
I am not.
Anyone made any noise about it?
Yeah, who's going? Randy's going.
Oh, Randy is going.
Randy's going. I believe our buddy Sal Perales might be heading that way. But other than that, I know King Tom wanted to go, but because of his health issues, and he's okay now. But he's I don't think he's heading down there.
It's a big one, isn't it? Although, it's not from the west coast. It's actually not that far.
I think it's 10 hours for us, right?
Which is about the same as it is from Australia. So it's 10 hours is a walk in the park for us. After 26 to London and whatever it is,
right?
8:30 something to Chicago or whatever it was, and
right. How far was Anaheim?
About 12 because it's on that coast. So it's sort of on that right side of the country. So it was about 12, 13. Right. And then Chicago was you had to fly to Anaheim or somewhere similar and then get to Chicago. And when I went to Chicago, I completely did stayed up all day, flew that night, was up all night, got there during the day, flew during the day. And then, it was like that first night in Chicago. Everyone's like, let's just stay out till 3 a.m.
Yeah, right. You get so excited.
And it was so dumb because it was that year they did the, it was like preview day or whatever it was. It was like.
It was the Thursday.
There's no panels. It's just like shopping. And because it was our first one, we're going, well, we got to get there at 8:30 at the door to open. And going that was dumb.
Yeah. That's the day you need to just get some rest. I would love to go to Japan. It's just with the 2 kids. My wife wants to go to Japan, but wants to go to Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the big problem here is where if I go, I want to hang out with you guys.
That's right.
Right. But I do want to see Japan. So if I go, it's got to be, if I'm going to celebration, it's got to be at least a 10 to 12 day trip. Do the celebration and then do Japan. But that I can't stay away from the kids that long.
Yeah.
And my wife can't. And my wife wants to go to Japan, but she wants to see Japan.
And ideally, you want the kid. Like we're hoping to take the kids because we've talked about a Japan trip, and we'll do Japan for a week and tax. I think with school holidays, celebration will come at the very end, and then we'll go home.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
It's there. Our kids are. We have to wait till they're a bit bigger. Like
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
Because otherwise,
so it doesn't make sense. And even
I
would love to go.
Even then, I'm sort of like our friend Turbo. He's just been in there with his family, and his boys are teenagers, and I think they're even like they've been wiped out from dealing with Japan and Disney. And I'm going, oh man, our girls are only 9 and 5. It might still be.
Yeah, mine's 2 and 5.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
Yeah, no way.
We're gonna do karaoke at 10 o'clock, kids. Like,
right, exactly. But I am very excited to see where the next one's going to be on the last day of Japan. It
has to be America, doesn't it? It has to, surely.
It's got to be. It's got to be here somewhere. And I don't know if it's going to be in Anaheim. I don't know if it's going to be in Florida or Chicago. Maybe it's going to be somewhere totally different. But
we're banking on...
I'm pushing for Vegas, Chapman. I'm pushing for Vegas.
In the Sphere.
Oh, my God. In the Sphere.
You do the panel in the Sphere. Well, we're sort of hoping it'll be Florida just because my partner's cat's best mate lives in Florida, so she moved there with her family years ago, and she's kind of going, well, because I said, they've done one in Anaheim. She said, well, if they do in Florida, we'll all try and come over, and we can.
You didn't go to the Orlando one?
No, Chicago was the first one.
I did the Orlando one. That was fun.
Yeah,
it was cool. Orlando's an interesting place, man. It's
I'm fascinated by Florida in general. It just feels like
Florida is crazy.
I've been to New York a bunch of times, and I've been to LA, and I've been, but I've never been like below.
Florida is weird, man. Like you'll have Miami is ultra, like South Beach is exactly what you think it is. It's super plush, and there's nightclubs that have yachts, a docking area for yachts where they come. I mean, it's just. Miami is Miami, but then Orlando is just the whole place is dedicated to theme parks. I mean, everything about it. You're driving on the street and there's nothing but miniature golf courses and these crazy liquor stores that have gigantic dinosaurs on top or wizards on top. It makes no sense at all. And it's just vast land. And then amusement parks.
Because didn't Disney buy he's just like, I'll just buy all the swamp land and put it.
So the property they own is as big as the city of San Francisco.
Yeah, right.
It's insane.
They just bought it with a wheelbarrow of money back in 1961 or
let's
something.
Take over.
Right.
And there's been some political issues with Disney and the guy.
That's kind of where they're going. It might not be there, but there's a Galaxy's Edge. That's
exactly what I thought.
Disney isn't there? Is there a Galaxy's Edge there? So it's at both. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I could totally see it going back to Orlando. And I would take the kids to that one because Orlando's got all kinds of cool stuff going on for kids, But we'll see. And maybe it's going to be somewhere totally different. We were at LA Comic-Con the other day, me, Randy, and Les, the co-hosts of the show. And we were talking about how interesting it is that Vegas doesn't have a con.
Do they have a convention center? They must do because they have the big electronics convention center.
They have a totally great convention center.
Yeah,
it's really cool. But I'm surprised they don't have a big one, like a Las Vegas Comic Con. Maybe they do, and I have no idea. But I've never seen it or I've never heard of it. It would be cool to have some kind of celebration there. It'd be pretty difficult for us.
It's got to be America. I can't imagine they'd go 5 years without. Even Japan was a surprise. Because they do the announcement at the end of the thing, and I've said this before. I was on the floor, and you're just sort of waiting for them to wind up, and you're watching on the screen, and and then they go Japan, and I was by myself. I just went because that's as close as we'll ever get to Australia. So I was wrapped, and there was all these Europeans and Americans just going,
yeah, that's what we all said because we thought it was coming back. And God damn it. Yeah.
So it was good to get one that's it's still a mission for us, but it's same time zone as Melbourne. It's
oh really? See, that's perfect for you guys.
So and it kind of works because we can hopefully take the family, although it's right on school holidays, right in the busiest tourist time in Japan. I don't know why they didn't just do it.
Right. It's on Easter Sunday.
Yeah. But it's only be 3 days as well, which would be interesting. So I was just talking about Chicago that was 5.
Yeah, Chicago was crazy.
Okay,
why was Chicago 5 days, man?
It's always that. Even when we're in London, like that, day 3 is always the hardest because the hype's died down. By the time you get to the last day, you're like, oh, it's the last day. I've got to like fire it. But day 3, you're always kind of just like, oh my God, I'm just
It's
exhausted.
the hump day.
And it's the day after the Saturday night, which is always like the big night as well.
Right. That is true. That is true.
Yeah, look, we'll turn up to anything. We'll go, but I'll be happy to go back to the States. In a few days.
I'd love to see it, man.
Just to get everyone there. Like I feel like that'll be the thing that'll get everyone will make the effort to get over there. So
yeah, and that's the thing that I miss the most is hanging out and seeing you guys and seeing all the people that we don't get to see for 3-4 years, and then we all meet in one spot and geek out and nerd out and get drunk. And
it just feels like you're just picking up where you left off.
Yeah, it really does. And that's what's great about the podcast community. And I was talking to Eric, our last episode, we were talking about how it all started. Because last episode was just me, Boo, Les, and Eric. And that was a good run for us for 3 years. It was just us 4. Mm-hmm. And I remember meeting Eric for the first time at Celebration Orlando when he was on the Bad Motivators. And just remembering how popular podcasting was just starting during that run, and how guys were editing on the floor, like waiting up at 6, like till 12 at night because they were waiting in line for the panels, but they were still editing and doing their thing, and they have to get content out. And now it's like we go to all these cons and we get press passes to all these cons, which is great. It's one of the great things I love about having a podcast, but it's not like we're not doing that. We're not like
sort of filming on the floor or anything like that.
No, we should be. I mean, that's the intent of those press passes. But yeah,
so what was the LA con like in general?
It was fantastic, man. I've been to it now 3 times, and the first time I went, it was like this up and coming. You would think it would be huge, right? It's in the middle of.
Is it always in
LA
the shadow
Live.
of San Diego, though?
It's always in the shadow of San Diego, and it's. We have WonderCon over here in Anaheim, which is pretty big too, and that's more of like actual comic books and anime and kind of like everything. And it's held at the same place that the Celebration Anaheim was.
Yep.
But the one in LA, it's in the middle of the heart of the entertainment industry. You know what I mean? Downtown Los Angeles, next to Staples Center. I won't call it Crypto Center. It's where the Lakers play. I still call it Staples Center. Right next to that, it's just a really cool area. It's pretty it's vibing. It's really cool. The first year I went, it's like this up and coming, and it wasn't as big, and the panels weren't great. Then I skipped a year, went back, and then now this year it was massive. Like it's getting huge. Yeah, right. And they had Ewan McGregor there. They had Rosario Dawson, Aiden Christian, Kevin Smith was there. Like they had for cons, the A-listers of cons, And what's great about it is that you don't have to wait in line. Their floor is so massive that their stage is in the middle of the con. So if you're walking by and Ewan McGregor is being interviewed on the main stage, people are just waiting and watching.
Do you think it's wild that he's just a con staple now, Ewan McGregor?
That's another thing we're talking about. I think it's just something that he likes to do. It's not like he needs the money.
No, I just think he just, because in the lead up to Obi-Wan and even, Celebration, I was kind of like, oh yeah, he'll be there, but he's not doing photos. Like he doesn't need to. Like he's not at that stage of his career. But it seems like he just really likes doing it.
Yeah. And so does Rosario Dawson.
Yeah. Or is it just something we just don't know? Like maybe he is just kind of like, I can just pop down for a few hours and get paid and
well, I'm sure that helps, right?
Yeah.
But you can generally tell that when he's up on stage, he's having a good time. He's having a good time. He interacts with people. He divulges information that he probably shouldn't, like talking about how they're in works, trying to get the idea for an Obi-Wan season 2. I don't know if he was supposed to say that
stuff.
What do you
do? Where does that go? Do you reckon?
Well, I think you could do, Luke is young, right? There's years of things that you can do looking after him, and issues with bounty hunters coming in, trying to find him, or different, different areas where they can go. Remember, Ahsoka's still around somewhere, correct?
Yep.
We don't know exactly. Am I losing it right now or no? Let me see. We don't know if Ahsoka and Obi-Wan ever communicated past what we have seen in Clone Wars, correct?
Yeah, that's true actually. Well,
Okay.
I kind of thought, well, you'd tie because if they want to keep Hayden Christensen involved, like I think Vader's done. Like I think Darth Vader is done now. Like you got away with it. Don't touch it now. Okay.
No, but Hayden, he wants Hayden.
But Hayden's in. So you tie that to Clone Wars. Something from his past in the Clone Wars involving Anakin comes back, which can involve clones now, or Rex, or you get Tamara Morrison, or something happening to that is enough to get him back. Because the thing is also is that he's at the end of like Kenobi, he's not out of the game. He's basically like, if you need me, I'm here. So it's before that he's like,
I'm always watching.
Yeah.
I'm always watching.
So there's nothing to suggest that he doesn't actually do things now and then.
So you can have him. Yeah, you can have him all kinds of different storylines, and you can incorporate Ahsoka in it if you really wanted to.
Yeah,
like that you could definitely. And then remember the whole the Jedis that were trying to save the Jedis, and what's his name?
The Path and all of the Quinlan Vos
stuff.
Yeah,
the Quinlan Vos stuff. It would be huge.
So it's almost like a Sins of the Past kind of thing comes back from when they're in the Clone Wars. Then you can bring Hayden in on a flashback.
Yep,
you can work that in, and because I like the idea that he from this point he isn't actually inactive. He could have been doing things in the lead up. When Leia comes to get his help, it's just a line of things that he's done periodically over the 10 years where he's tapped him, or maybe it'd been a few years between stuff. But he's been contactable. He's in a little house now.
Yeah, you know where he's at. Like Organa knows where he's at. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and he's not particularly in danger of getting busted anymore because Vader's like, well, stuff him. Like he's not an issue anymore. We don't even care. So, we can leave him out of it. But, look, give me more. And I feel like it's, given all the crap that's gone on with Star Wars, I feel like that's a very safe bet. That's a people pleaser.
Safe bet.
Like, there's
that is
sort of
definitely fan servicey all the way.
Yeah, and kind of keeps everybody happy. Not that some people deserve to be kept happy, but like, let's just have a little bit of calm the farm every now and then.
Let's just chill. Let's just chill for a while. But and I also think when you have someone with that caliber of an aura around him, which is not only the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but Ewan McGregor, like
and he wants to do it.
Actor,
he wants to
do it. So you figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Before it was always like, he probably doesn't want to do it. He's not, I'm not that interested. And then
he is all about
recently he's like, I don't know, maybe, no one's ever asked me. And wink, wink. And like this, you got to strike one.
Yeah. We were at Comic-Con and we were like, oh my God, like he just came out and said that they were trying to figure out how to do it. And if he's saying they're trying to figure out how to do it, it's going to happen, man. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Find a way.
Just
come on. We're still paying. We're all still paying for Disney Plus. Like, give me my Give me my goddamn content, please.
Right. What was your take on Acolyte?
I loved the Acolyte.
Good.
Loved it, and I know it wasn't for everyone, but I found everything really worked for me. I thought the story structure worked really well. I liked the slow reveals. I thought the acting was top notch. I thought it all really worked. And we were sort of talking about it every week on the podcast and stuff and kind of trying to figure out where it would go. And, obviously some bits weren't as executed as well as they could be in slightly other bits. I was watching it with Kat and she was actually more interested because Leslie Headland had done it. And she loved Russian Doll. And that was like,
Russian Doll was great,
and I was going, the Russian Doll lady did it. And she's like, okay, I'll watch.
Yeah.
And she was invested, but there were bits where she was kind of going, all right, so, why are they doing that and why?
Right. There's a lot of bits.
And it wasn't even, that wasn't even so much Star Wars related. It was more just, some motivations became a little unclear or whatever. And it did have a little bit of that. But I still think that the fact that it revealed the things, because some people are going like, oh, well, you should have had the flashback first and then led into that. And I'm like, no, well, I thought it worked better because then you reveal things about certain people at certain times and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, look, I was really bummed that it doesn't look like it's coming back. But
no,
never say never.
Yeah. You know what happens is
sometimes these things get a life on them as well, and they get a long tail.
Right.
So.
That's exactly right. Remember, prequels back in the day got shit on. right?
Yeah,
I mean, it got
I was there.
crapped on. Yeah, I was there too.
We were there. I got the T-shirt.
Yeah, we were there. Now all of a sudden, a Naboo starfighter shows up in Mandalorian, and it becomes, holy crap! They have a Naboo starfighter in Mandalorian. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Prequels are amazing, amazing, amazing. And now there's this like resurgence of the prequels were great, which I like the prequels. You know, I'm nothing. No, I love the prequels, but I remember then people were shitting on them.
Yeah,
and so you never know. In 10 years, like people might go back to the Acolyte and say, "Wow, this thing was super cool, man. We should have given it a shot." For
I just feel like it could have been. I know that it maybe didn't get as many numbers as they wanted, but it seems compared to most things, it still did really well. But you could have done that show cheaper. Like you literally have a volume.
Yeah.
It might not have looked as good, but you could have found a way. And I just found that a little bit weird.
Yeah, and they didn't use the volume a lot. I heard in this, like a lot of it was practical, and that's the problem that I had with it. I didn't think it was, like you said, I didn't think a lot of it was executed well. For that much money and the production value, there was episodes that were amazing, that were so cool, and I had a blast watching it and reacting to it and talking to the guys about it. And again, it's Star Wars. So you're talking to a guy that didn't you know how this is? You were dying for Star Wars content for decades. So I'm never going to trash something, but I just didn't think, I think it was presented to us in a certain way. And what we got wasn't what they presented or represented early on, where it's going to be about the Sith and it's going to be about how the Sith infiltrates the Jedi Order. And I didn't get that at all. Like I got the complete opposite of that.
It kind of felt like it needed to commit to 2 seasons.
Yeah, maybe. And I would have liked to see 2 seasons.
And if you'd gone in knowing that there was more, and even from the fact if like it probably would have made more sense to shoot 2 seasons if you spent all that money on sets and costumes and everything and kind of got some more bang for your buck. But it's hard to making stuff is hard. So it's like, I get it. Like it's very easy to sit back and just judge. But I really hope that's not the end we see of Leslie Headland and of her involvement in Star Wars. But yeah, I'm looking forward. I think Skeleton Crew will be fun. Like I am too. Kids adventure. I'm all about that.
Yeah. The first little Back to the Future little twinkle that they did in the preview. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh, the little,
if you watched the
little,
right there. I was like, I'm hooked. I'm in. This is great. This is great.
And just lean into it. Like I don't think there's any problem wearing your influences on your sleeve. I think
no, and that's one thing. Going back to the Acolyte that I really, really appreciated from Leslie Headland was I could tell that she was a huge fan. Yep. And she put her heart and soul into it. And that sucks that it got so much vitriol towards it because I know that she's a super, super huge fan. And reading the High Republic books too and knowing about some of the story, I appreciated that part of it. I mean, she tried to incorporate a lot of different things. And I think that's great when they get somebody to be a showrunner or a writer that knows the lore of the franchise. I just feel bad at it. I don't know. I just did that. It wasn't executed as well as I wish it would have been.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder what they do. Well, that's the whole thing about it. Like you're going to go like, all right, well, second time around, like you feel like you iron out the creases and you don't have to spend shoe leather explaining things because you can just sort of hit the ground running on stuff. But yeah, I just hope those kids get left alone in Skeleton Crew. Like, I don't mean the characters. I just mean like, don't just let them be kids. And it was there was this funny thing because they were talking about like the Harry Potter, they're remaking Harry Potter.
Right.
And I saw they were talking about like, oh, they're looking for kids to play like the kids in the thing and do all this kind of stuff like that. And my oldest daughter, Olive, who's 9, is a dead ringer Hermione Granger. Like she's got the hair, she's got the, and we were making jokes about it because it's like, oh, people in the UK and I'm a UK citizen. And Kat's going, if we lived in the UK, we could have put Olive up for Hermione Granger. I'm like, I would not subject my daughter to any of that. Maybe it would be our ticket out of this one horse town, but like, yeah, it's like those Potter kids barely made it out. Yeah, those Potter kids barely made it out, and that was pre the things that had come since. So I'm just going, just like I feel sorry for any child actors on those big franchises now. So
you appreciate the Stranger Things kids where they haven't gotten too much slack, right?
There hasn't really been a Dustin drives his car into a moat with with a
That's
bunch
true.
of hookers in the back.
That's
like,
true. Not yet.
No.
It's coming.
He hasn't kind of Edward Furlonged it out yet or anything like that.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. I saw a picture and I felt so bad. I saw TMZ had a picture of Jake Lloyd yesterday on their website walking on the street. And I was like, and it said Jake Lloyd sighting. I was like, dude, leave the kid. He's not a kid. He's a man now.
Yeah.
Leave him alone, man. Just leave the guy alone. He's going through it.
You reckon
he's got issues?
Yeah, I suppose he wouldn't. Like, I don't think the convention circuit would probably do him, regardless of the love. Even if he got the love, Hayden Christensen style sort of thing. I still don't.
No, I think, and he would get the love. I just think that his issues are pretty severe. I mean, it's as far as I know.
So it's tough out there. Look, hug your kids.
It is,
everybody.
Yeah, look after those Skeleton Crew kids.
Yeah, I don't want to see. I already like.
Yep.
What can you say, and how can you criticize things that deserve to be criticized? So at the same, I think you just got to fight the good fight on that kind of thing. But yeah, it's good. Like more Star Wars. It's been a long time coming, Skeleton Crew, and it's weird that because it's been delayed a few times, like the toys are coming out, like actually going to be there, like day one. You better walk out and get
that's amazing.
a Jude Law doll to put on your wall.
I'm down for Jude Law. I am a big fan of that dude.
Just keep it away from your like lady dolls on the
Yeah, don't put them next to any kind of lady dolls. Yeah, then you'll have baby dolls.
Yeah,
right next
keep
to
it
the
away
lady
from
dolls.
the nanny. Who was the nanny? Who was the nanny?
Oh, the nanny.
Oh, Winter. Was it in the EU? You know, the nanny who was in the Timothy Zahn books was the nanny of the Solo twins.
Right,
Winter.
That's right, Winter. Yes,
keep her away from Jude Law.
That's right.
There's a pull.
I totally forgot about that.
I just reread that Thrawn trilogy comic, like the full one.
Yeah. I have. I think Tom gave me that one. Yeah,
it's not bad.
It's really good.
It's pretty good. It's not the be all and end all, but it's good. No. It's the Heir to the Empire trilogy, like the old adaptation one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That one's super cool. Yeah, that one's really cool. Yeah, I love the Thrawn stuff, man. Yeah, Zahn's like just one of my favorites.
You reckon he's in Skeleton Crew?
Yeah.
Was it supposed to come out before Ahsoka or after Ahsoka? I don't remember originally.
I think before, but it's all tying in, right?
Yeah.
All of it.
So I'd be curious to see Mandoverse. I wonder if they'll drop a Luke Skywalker cameo. I mean, like a Chewbacca. I could see a Chewbacca slotting in.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
That's definitely safe. Possible. That's a safe kind of like. Yeah. We can do oh my god moment, but it's still just like a guy in a suit. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Right. That would be very cool if we at the end of it get a tie. I would imagine it's going to happen. A tie into the ultimate. I don't know if it was King Tom or somebody on our podcast said how crazy would it be if the kids end up on that planet somehow.
Oh, the Ahsoka planet.
Yeah. With the Burgles.
It's almost like a back door.
Yeah. And that's how they
the premise is that they're like suburbs kids and they find a spaceship in the backyard, or not the backyard, but like somewhere near where they live. They get in and it's like what was the other movie that I used to quite like growing up? Explorers. The kids who make their own spaceship.
Yeah, and they got a lot of inspiration from Explorers, Goonies, Back to the Future. They're trying to get that kind of feel. Yeah, the Zemeckis style.
Yeah, the Bob Zemeckis. No, not the creepy Polar Express stuff.
No.
What's the last movie he made, Bob Zemeckis? Does he still?
He's got one coming out. It's interesting you said that. I saw a trailer for today. I forgot what it's called, but it's with Robin Wright Penn and Tom Hanks. They're reuniting. Forrest Gump. They're reuniting to do this story about a family, but I believe the entire movie is filmed from the perspective of a corner of a house inside the bedroom. I'm sorry, inside the living room,
right?
And watching events go down,
like from Paranormal Activity or something.
Well, no, not like Paranormal Activity, but it's like you feel like you're standing there watching birthdays, people, passing away. Like it's a story about their entire life together, and it's like 4 generations. But it's you're in this corner of this family,
just like
the corner of this room,
yeah, right?
Yeah, okay. And they de-aged both of them, so they look super young, and then they made him look older at the very, very end.
Love about 80s Hanks. Called. Bit of like the Birds.
It's Money. Yeah, Money Pit Hanks.
Yeah. There actually is like a Forrest Gump sequel book. I think it's quite wild. Yeah, like apparently he like goes to space and does all sorts of stuff like in it.
What?
Yeah. Because I think Forrest Gump was a book first, but I think the guy who wrote it like wrote another book afterwards, and like he goes to space and does all this other kind of like wacky kind of. I've got to look it up.
That's like Willy Wonka. I read the sequel to Willy Wonka.
Oh, the glass elevator.
The glass elevator,
which is that's why they've never made a movie because it's just insane.
It's insane. Yeah. The Robert Zemeckis movie is called. It's called Here. Just Here. Okay. Yeah. Tom Hanks, Robert Zemeckis' unique Forrest Gump reunion. Here is Amazon MGM, but it's a the camera never moves. Yeah, spans a century, but the camera never moves.
So
isn't that crazy?
Gump and Co. is the second Forrest Gump book.
Gump and Co.
So I'm not going to read all of it, but basically he goes to the Iraq War, and he meets Saddam Hussein apparently. And
dude, they need to do that. Yeah, they need to make this. Zemeckis needs to make this. He meets
Bill and Hillary Clinton. It's just like a total '90s fest.
Oh, I'm down.
So maybe if this '90s
soundtrack,
if people are hungry for more, Hanks and Robin Wright Penn. Although no, Jenny died at the end of Forrest Gump.
She died. Jenny.
Oh, yeah, well, that wouldn't really work then.
No, that wouldn't
You'll have to fight it alone.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay. Yeah, so Skeleton Crew and then Andor Season 2. So we've still got this beautiful little Andor present waiting for us.
It's just there. It needs to be here now. But I can't wait, man. I can't wait. And I saw that Mads Mikkelsen was announced for Celebration Japan. So you'll see him there. Yep. So does that mean that we're going to see him in Andor 2?
I would surely. Well, I think Mendelsohn is in.
Mendelssohn's
I think that it'll.
By the way, I wish they would have held off. And
I know.
That.
I feel like that only comes up because someone's found out and they want to get ahead of it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've got a feeling it'll around Celebration Japan will probably be when it comes out. I don't know whether they'll premiere it there. But
yeah, they will. I'm sure.
It's just funny because it just going back to Celebration. Like it's the first time that I would have been to one that's a non-English speaking country predominantly. So
yeah,
we still don't quite know like how the panel's going to work. Is it going to be? Are they just in English? Are they in?
I think they're in English. I remember the last one in Tokyo, right? Wasn't there one in Tokyo?
Yeah,
this is a while ago.
Yeah, maybe early 2000s or something.
Yeah, and I think I saw. Yeah, I think they're in English. That's a great question.
That would be just hilarious if we got, they go, yep, season 1, first episode, season 2, Andor's dropping at Celebration. You got your passes, and Catherine's here with us, and she's just fired, and they sit us down, the lights come out, and it's just all in Japanese. It's like we had to watch the first, like at least throw us some subtitles or something. But oh my gosh,
that'd be rad. That'd be cool. I would love.
But we'd make do. The show would be so good, you'd probably just make do anyway.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I want to see Andy Serkis somehow, somewhere. I don't know how he would, but.
Is that the peak? Is it going to get any better? Do you have, I almost go. I mean, once Andor 2's done, can we ever scale those heights again? Is it possible?
I don't know. And that's another problem is that we compare everything now to Andor, and it's unfair, that we do that.
That's what you get for being so good.
Well, yeah, and that's why I think Acolyte took a hit because every week I was watching Acolyte on Wednesdays. It was coming out on Wednesday nights, right? Wednesday or Thursday nights or something like that for us. And then on Sunday, I was watching House of the Dragon.
Yep.
And it was just congruent, and it was the whole season together, and it was such a different show. I mean, it's obviously they're different shows, but the scale and how the production value and how it looked on television, one show, and then how the other one looked, and you're like, they need to do this somehow, some way for Star Wars. Damn it. So I think that kind of also hurt my watching experience of Acolyte.
Like, just find a way to do another season. Like, I don't care if it leads up to Rogue One. Just find I don't know. Do you reckon that you could get Tony Gilroy to do anything else? Do you think he would be interested? I kind of feels like this was a stretch to get him to do that. You know what I mean? Like, to get him to commit to TV. Because like, originally they were talking 5 seasons. I think, they got to 2, and I think probably secretly he was like, 2 probably feels about right.
Right. I think if they give him something like fresh and something cool to do, I think he would do it.
Because people talk about getting Favreau and Filoni to run Star Wars. I'm like, get Tony Gilroy to run Star Wars.
Yeah,
could you imagine? He wouldn't suffer
that'd be
fools.
cool, man.
He'd bring this really sort of different kind of discipline to it, I think. But I mean, maybe
it's so cool. It's such a good show.
Not for everyone. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope that season 2 is just up there with season 1. I know it's going to be hard to get to that level, but I think it will. I think Gilroy knows what he's doing, and obviously Diego is a stud.
Did you see him dressed as Bert and Ernie online? So he's promoting something with his best friend. I'm sorry if I don't have his name, but for some reason, part of it they'll be interviewed by Bert and Ernie. And it's awesome. Just like, we're guessing who are the best friends here? Is it me or Ernie or Diego and their friends? And they were doing this quiz. And then at the end, like Diego, Luda, and his friend are dressed as Bert and Ernie. They've got like the little sweaters on and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. The guy that is his best friend. He was in movies with him.
Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't have his name.
When he was younger. Y tu mamá también, I think is the first one. Yeah, I forgot his name. He's a great actor too.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. I like when creators put their it's them. They put their stamp on it. Like I'm really looking forward to this James Gunn Superman because I just feel like he's gonna.
I am too, man.
Just all the images. I'm just like, Superman just looks nice. I just like nice. Cool. I like he's just nice and good and pure.
He's sitting there with a dog.
He's sitting there with his dog. Yeah, he's sitting on the moon with his pet dog, and they're gonna have a little run around the moon. I'm like, that's
pretty rad.
Superman can have problems, and whatever things can go wrong, but I like inherently he's not brooding. He's Superman.
Yeah, and I trust James Gunn. He has equity that he has with us. So I definitely trust his direction, man. I know people are pissed that they're not bringing Cavill back and Wonder Woman back and the whole crew, but he wants to do it his way. Let him do it his way. It wasn't working that way.
No, it had run its course, I think. And I saw Henry Cavill's going to be in Voltron. Did you get Voltron as a kid? Did you get Voltron as a kid?
Bro, Voltron is one of my favorite things in the world, dude. Like, I am sitting here.
Oh, yeah, I can see it right there. Is that an
Lego Voltron?
Is that an original
It's a Lego one?
Oh, it's a Lego one.
No, it's a Lego one. Oh, yeah. I used to have the original one. I love Voltron.
I
adore Voltron.
All the lions except the black lion.
Oh,
so we couldn't make Voltron, but you couldn't make Voltron. You just had his arms.
You could not make Voltron if you didn't have lines.
Which I still think.
I love that. I love the show. I still watch the show. I still watch the old school one from time to time.
I don't think I've gone back for a long time. It's one of those ones where I think it's like He-Man. If you go back and you kind of go, whoa, or even some of the original Transformers, it'd be like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the G1s. I make my son watch the G1s. He loves the original Transformers. With the Voltron ones, you just go back and look and you're like, oh my God, I was watching anime back then. I was legitimately watching anime. I didn't realize it back then.
Same here with like Astro Boy was really big in Australia. They just have it on.
Astro Boy's
and
cool.
that was another. That was like, oh man, it's been around since like the 50s or 60s or something. You were just watching anime and didn't even realize it.
Right.
It's sort of funny now when you sort of go, because I think back to my childhood of watching cartoons and now thinking like, oh, it's actually really obvious that these have all been dubbed. What are you doing over there? Oh. And it's all right. And the way they express and they close their and they do all it like, we were just watching all this like dubbed Japanese animation stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm very excited that Cavill's going to be.
Is he going to be He could just be Voltron. He's just big enough to be. He could just be Voltron.
He should be Voltron, but he'll probably be. I would imagine he'll be running the Black Lion, man. I mean, that would be rad.
He's not too old. He could just be like, I was the first one, and you guys, you young bucks, are taking over. Or...
Yeah, it's so true. You're right. They're all going to be young kids because they're going to have this franchise for a while. I would imagine.
Yeah, get him.
Or he could. Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. I can't wait to see the lions in live action, man. Like that's gonna be crazy for me, man. I am so stoked about it. And I always talk shit because I'm not a Power Ranger fan because they ripped off Voltron.
No, we'd aged out by. I think you and I were around the same age. The Power Rangers was sort of done by the time we'd.
Yeah, copy Voltron, dude. Put that shit out.
Yeah, I don't. You know, every now and then some Power Ranger thing will float across my thing. I'm like, it's not my. It wasn't my bag. It wasn't my.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't my thing. I'm sorry.
You remember Voltron 1? You remember the car one?
Yeah. It was like 30 cars, though.
Yeah.
There was a cartoon for that as well. No.
There was. Yeah, there was. I watched all of those, too.
There was. It was... I remember there being a smaller car one.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, the original Voltron one was sort of, yay big, and you could... Yeah.
Yeah, the smaller cars were like... Yeah, they would stack up. And like the feet, it looked lame. Like when it was,
he had
Voltron,
like a weird cone on his head, and he just
he looked lame. He looked like he wasn't like the Lions, but it was cool to have.
That'll be like I'm calling it now. Like we'll go watch the Voltron movie, and we'll be like, oh yeah, that was good fun, blah blah blah, and then the after credits sting will be the car the Voltron. That's how they'll like. Write it down. Car Voltron.
Oh, that'd be so cool. I just hope it's really cool, man. I just hope it's not like this bullshit, like. Movie that they put on Netflix or something.
I want to see. Though, was it? Was Voltron set on Earth?
No,
it was its own world, wasn't it?
It was its own world.
Yeah, don't cop out and put it on Earth. I don't want that.
And it had a number, right? Like SR-71 or something.
Yeah, like keep it in its own universe. Don't stick it on Earth. I don't want any.
Yeah, we don't want to hear.
No, we don't need that. We've got enough going on.
No, we don't want Voltron.
We don't need any giant Voltrons. All the other guys, they're all probably around the same. Like.
The guys on the Sith List?
Yeah, they all Voltron guys.
Like Les and I are the same age. Eric's a little bit older. King Thomas were right there. And then Randy's right there. Yeah, Boo is the youngest. Boo is... Yeah,
he's
just
Power Rangers.
30. He's a Power Ranger. Yeah, he's in that
Beast
era.
Wars or one of those weird...
Yes.
Those that early weird CG, really bad CG cartoons. That
exactly. Right.
I don't need that. Have you seen... I know we're winding up here. Have you seen that new Transformers animated Transformers 1?
No, but I want to see it badly because I've heard nothing but great things about it. But I want to take my son, but I've heard it's a little too violent.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think this has actually been... like the trailer was so bad for that. It really just looked like well, that just happened kind of... And I'm going, ugh, like this doesn't look
very good. The jokes weren't hitting?
Yeah.
It wasn't funny?
Although I've heard everyone's just like, no, it's amazing. I'm like, oh, well... Come on, man.
Yeah, I want to see it. I heard it's really good. And they just pulled it out of like 155 theaters.
So it'll be on streaming in a few weeks anyway.
Yeah. But it did well. It made money. And that's what they were trying to do.
The thing is, it'll make money. It'll sell toys. Then they'll just do... It's like that... I really like that Mutant Mayhem, the Turtles movie, which I thought was fantastic.
That was super cool.
And my youngest daughter particularly, and she's never really... seen Turtles at all. Like she had no exposure to it, and she loved it. So she's gone onto Turtles, and it's like, well, that's the get, isn't it? Like you get the oldies.
That's how they get you.
And then you get the young ones in, and that's done enough business, and they'll bring those back. It was
well, just think about it. We were talking about how we looked at Box Office Mojo's top 25 films of 2023. 2023 up to 2024, and there was only 3 movies that were original.
Yeah, right.
And one of them was Oppenheimer, which Oppenheimer was out of a book, but I guess it's an original. But everything else was IPs, like just reboots and redos and sequels and 30-year-old sequels, and it's crazy. There's the original ideas are gone.
Yeah,
and they won't even greenlight things that are original anymore.
Hopefully there'll be a paradigm shift. Like the only thing like that
there will be.
Talk about like technology and what it can do, and AI. I think it's garbage and all that kind of stuff. But I like the idea that technology can get to a point where you can empower creative people with original ideas to make visually quality stuff, and you don't need to use AI. Sure. Like I'm talking about just access to special effects and cameras and whatever else. And we're definitely making progress on that because you can certainly get your bang for your buck on certain things. But that was why it was just weird, like just whining right where we started, like with Beetlejuice. I'm just like, this just looks like it almost looks like a fan film or something. Really?
Yeah, I got the same feeling, man. I was like, and I know everybody was raving about it, and I was like, oh, it was fun. It was cool to see Keaton like that, but it did not feel like a Tim Burton. film.
I saw the new Hellboy the Crooked Man.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Yeah.
And like the trailers it looks like a fan film. Like it looks like it's been shot for about $100. And I saw it, and it's all right. Like it's very small story. It's very horror tinged.
And it should be.
But they've made it for the cost of an oily rag. Like it didn't cost much, but it looks particularly at night, it looks really good. In daytime, it's got that really kind of fan filmy, like we're trying to make it look like film, but it doesn't look like film kind of thing. Yeah. But the guy who plays Hellboy seems fine.
Yeah, who's that? Who's playing Hellboy?
Oh, I didn't know who he was. He's like some big dude who's been in something, but it wasn't like a name.
They saved money on the actors.
They saved money anyway. Like I didn't recognize anybody who was in it. But as far as like if you just kind of go, I just want to watch something and be entertained,
right?
Like go for it. But dude, we just like time. It just goes.
We just are shooting the shit, man. And that's what, and that's a great podcast when you feel like you're just hanging out, drinking, talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
This kind of stuff. I mean, that's why we do it every week. Really. I mean, so. I had a blast. Thank you for inviting me, man. It was awesome.
My pleasure. So tell us, get the boys every week, light up with the boys, the Sith List boys.
Yeah, so we record every Wednesday. We put it out every Thursday. We're on episode 428, so we've been doing it for a while now. It's crazy.
You don't miss times either, so that's like it's really like
I think we've never missed a week. If we know we have to miss, we'll record one before and put it out still.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But we have our Patreon. Our Patreon's pretty cool because we get to do other kind of cool stuff. Like we have an X-Men show called X-Class where King Tom and Les and Randy, who are diehard X-Men fan, break down X-Men for me. Like as a newbie, which I've been collecting new old school issues of X-Men comics from the original run. That's like my new thing I do. Yeah, I'm wasting a lot of money on it, unfortunately. And then we have an episode called King and I, where King Tom and I just talk like me and you just talked about stuff from the past. And we do all kinds of stuff. And every show on Patreon, before we start our regular podcast, we pick a year. And Turbo has been huge because he actually gave us a whole database of what year that we picked on what episode we do it. So now we can't double up. So what we do is somebody will pick a random year, 1978. Yep. And then we'll look on Spotify and find out what was going on, like hit wise, music wise in 78. And then we'll just play a playlist and we'll talk about the music. And then we'll start our podcast right after that.
Yeah.
So you can find us anywhere podcasts are played, Sith List. And then on YouTube, we do reactions and breakdowns of all the stuff that we love watching, Star Wars stuff. We're doing the Penguin right now.
I know you're winding up. What's the most views on any reaction you've ever got? Is there one that stands out?
It was about 85,000, I think, and then that was the Luke Skywalker reveal. Yeah, and then we had Mark Hamill watch because we got lumped into a mashup of a bunch of people.
Right, yep.
And then Mark Hamill tweeted out, "I just saw this," and he linked to all of our things, and that was huge. I mean, that was like Mark Hamill got to see us react to him. That was rad. So that was huge. And then Game of Thrones was really big for us, and then Obi-Wan was big, like 50,000, 60,000, 40,000. So we have 13,000 subs. We started during the pandemic, and I taught myself how to do the post-production stuff and video stuff and streaming.
Building an empire, man.
Yeah, it's a grind, dude. YouTube is such a grind.
Yeah, I know. That's why I kind of like, I do occasionally will throw something up, but you guys are way more committed than we, we just chuck stuff out when we chuck it out. But
right. But at the end of the day, it's just us three watching stuff. Yeah, we're having fun. We're having fun doing it. But thank you, man. This is awesome. We got to get you on. Yeah. We would love to have you on again.
We'll talk turkey and, one day we'll all be in the same room again, around a
hopefully
table.
Soon.
When we know it won't be that long. By April next year, which is only 5 or 6 months, we should know.
Right.
Potentially.
We got to do another party bus, buddy.
When we do, dude. We could go another hour talking about the party bus.
Oh, man.
Well, thanks, everybody, for listening. It's good to be back. We'll be back. I've got a few guests in the pipeline, a couple of first-timers as well. One particular I'm really looking forward to if we can get them on. And thanks again, buddy. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, no, of course. Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Later, bud.